Well, I think there's a major difference between the majority of Lebanese immigrants who came to the United States and who stayed in New England and the ones who came to North Carolina. Their numbers in North Carolina were much smaller, and they were dispersed over a broader geography. So in essence, you would find at most, 30, 40, 50 of them in a large town like New Bern or Goldsboro. And the way they integrated is through work. They made themselves, in essence, part of the economy of every town they were in. So after peddling, going on the roads and becoming the sort of the supply chain, if you will, for various objects and products for the small population, they usually settled in a town. So take Goldsboro, for example. The Badurs settled there, and they opened the large store, the precursor to Macy's and Belk, are these stores that they opened in these small towns where they would serve everybody. And for them, because it is business, they were actually crossing all sorts of racial lines as well. They were serving blacks as well as whites. They really didn't discriminate in a sense because they saw that as, and they employed blacks as well as whites. And so that is how they became part of the society. And also, they immediately established religious establishments. So the Catholic Church really, in many ways, in North Carolina, owes its roots to the Lebanese community here because they set up some of the earliest churches, especially in the eastern part of the state. And they immediately, do things such as, join the scouting organizations or join any other kind of community organization and take part of it. And I think in that sense, they become part of it. It doesn't mean that they're accepted as fully as white folks, but they are accepted within their communities very quickly.
How many would have been peddlers?
We estimate that at least 60 to 70% male and female practice some peddling at some point. So it really was the work of choice. Now, if you go to a place like New York, which has factories, many of them would work in factories as well. Here, they didn't do so much. They didn't work in the textile mills at all. They really got into peddling and then stores. And after that, so I'll give you two examples. If you go to Greensboro, you have the Khoury Convention Center. Well, the Khouris, of course, are Lebanese immigrants themselves, and they got into the textile mills. They owned one of the textile mills, and you can see one of the last few left. It's called Carolina Hosiery, and that's how that's the kind of business they got onto. If you look at the Mack family, that family has a different story. They start as peddlers. They open up a store in Mooresville, and then the grandson, John Mack, ends up going to Duke on a football scholarship, and then he becomes the CEO of City Corporation. So it is the trajectory for many of them is you start as peddler, you become a store owner, and you send their kids to college so they become lawyers or what have you. And that is pretty much the path they took.